The hidden side of Jesus. Jesus was tired too. And this is what he did. There is something about being tired that almost everyone understands. You can be tired after working all day. You can be tired after taking care of your children. You can be tired after studying, driving, building a business, serving other people, caring for a sick family member, or simply trying to keep your life together. But there is another kind of tiredness, the kind that sleep doesn't completely fix, the kind where your body is tired but your mind won't stop, the kind where you smile when people ask, "How are you?" even though the honest answer is, "I'm exhausted." Maybe you've experienced that. Maybe you're watching this late at night. The house is finally quiet. The phone is finally still. Everyone else seems to be asleep. And for the first time all day, you can hear your own thoughts. And those thoughts say, "I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. I need a break. I need peace. I need someone to understand. I need God." If that sounds familiar, I want you to hear something today. Jesus understands, not from a distance, not as someone who simply watched human beings become tired. Jesus himself experienced human exhaustion. Jesus became hungry. Jesus became thirsty. Jesus walked until he was tired. Jesus slept. Jesus experienced grief. Jesus experienced loneliness. Jesus experienced rejection. Jesus experienced emotional anguish. Jesus knew what it meant to carry enormous responsibility while surrounded by people who needed him. And perhaps one of the most comforting truths about Jesus is this: Jesus was tired too, and what he did with his tiredness can teach us how to deal with ours. Jesus was human enough to become tired. There is a fascinating moment in John chapter 4. Jesus is traveling, and he arrives at a place called Sychar in Samaria. The Bible tells us that Jesus, tired from his journey, sits beside a well. Think about that for a moment. Jesus, the Son of God, tired. He doesn't pretend, he doesn't perform, he doesn't act as if exhaustion is beneath him. He simply sits down. There is something deeply comforting about that picture, because sometimes we think faith means we should never admit that we're exhausted. We think strong Christians should always be energetic, always positive, always ready, always available, always smiling, always serving, always believing. But Jesus shows us something different. There is no shame in being tired. Being tired does not mean you are failing. Being tired does not mean you have weak faith. Being tired does not mean God has abandoned you. Sometimes being tired simply means you have been carrying a lot. Think about the people watching this message. There is a mother who has spent years caring for everyone except herself. There is a father who goes to work every morning even though he's worried about the bills. There is a young person trying to figure out their future. There is a nurse who spends hours caring for other people's bodies while nobody asks how she is doing. There is a teacher who gives everything to students and goes home emotionally drained. There is a first responder who has seen things that most people will never see. There is a person working 2 jobs. There is someone caring for an aging parent. There is someone who looks successful on social media but feels completely empty when the screen goes dark. And Jesus looks at them and says, in effect, "I understand what it means to be human. You don't have to hide your exhaustion from him." Jesus didn't pretend he had unlimited energy. There is another beautiful moment in Mark chapter 4. Jesus and his disciples are crossing the Sea of Galilee. A storm begins, the wind becomes violent, the waves become dangerous, the disciples panic. And where is Jesus? He is asleep. Think about the contrast. The disciples are terrified. The boat is being shaken, the storm is raging, and Jesus is sleeping. Why? Because Jesus was tired. He had been teaching, he had been traveling, he had been serving people, he needed rest. And this teaches us something important. Rest is not the opposite of faith. Sometimes rest is part of faith. We live in a culture that celebrates being busy. Busy schedules, busy phones, busy calendars, busy businesses, busy minds. We sometimes treat exhaustion like a trophy. How little did you sleep? How many hours did you work? How many things did you accomplish? How many messages did you answer? But Jesus never taught us that our value comes from how exhausted we can become. You are not valuable because you are constantly productive. You are valuable because you are loved by God. There will always be another email, another bill, another meeting, another responsibility, another notification, another problem, another person who needs something from you. But your body has limits. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is stop. Jesus repeatedly withdrew from crowds. Luke 5:16 tells us that Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Notice that word, often, not once. Not only when things became terrible, it was a pattern. Jesus understood the importance of stepping away. Imagine being surrounded by thousands of people who want something from you. People want healing, people want answers, people want miracles, people want attention, people want explanations, people want your time, and yet Jesus knew that he needed moments alone with the Father. That's powerful. Because some of us are exhausted, not because we're doing evil things, we're exhausted because we're doing too many good things without stopping. You're helping everybody, answering everybody, fixing everything, solving everybody's problems, and eventually you realize you have nothing left. Jesus teaches us that even good work needs boundaries. You can love people and still need rest. You can serve people and still need solitude. You can care about your family and still need quiet. You can have faith and still need sleep. You can trust God and still say, I need to stop for a moment. Jesus was compassionate, even when he was exhausted. Now here's where Jesus becomes even more remarkable. In Mark chapter 6, Jesus and his disciples are trying to get away and rest. They have been so busy that they haven't even had enough time to eat. They leave in a boat, hoping to find a quiet place, but the crowd sees them. The people follow. Imagine how you might feel. You finally get away. You're exhausted. You haven't even eaten properly, and suddenly thousands of people are waiting for you. But when Jesus sees them, he doesn't look at them as an inconvenience. The Bible says he has compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. This tells us something about the heart of Jesus. Jesus was tired, but he wasn't indifferent. He could be exhausted and still care. He could need rest and still have compassion. And that is important because exhaustion can make us hard. When we're tired, we're more easily irritated. We answer sharply. We lose patience. We become frustrated. We start seeing people as interruptions instead of human beings. But Jesus shows compassion even under pressure. However, notice something else. Jesus didn't live in a state of endless availability. He continued to withdraw. He continued to pray. He continued to rest. So the lesson isn't never rest because other people need you. The lesson is rest so that you can continue loving people without losing yourself in the process. Jesus had emotions. There is another side of Jesus that many people don't talk about enough. Jesus felt deeply. In John chapter 11, Jesus arrives after Lazarus has died. He sees Mary grieving, he sees others crying, and Jesus himself weeps. The shortest verse in many English Bibles is simply, Jesus wept. Think about that. Jesus cried. He wasn't embarrassed by emotion. He didn't tell himself, I shouldn't feel this. He didn't tell the grieving people, stop crying, everything will be fine. He entered their pain. He stood in the middle of human grief, and he wept. That means when you're grieving, Jesus isn't standing far away saying, why can't you be stronger? He understands tears. He understands loss. He understands the ache of missing someone. He understands the pain of watching people suffer. He understands the feeling of a heart that doesn't know what to do with its sorrow. There are people watching this right now who don't need a lecture. They need permission to grieve. Maybe you lost someone. Maybe a relationship ended. Maybe a dream died. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe something happened that changed your family forever. Maybe you're carrying a grief that nobody else sees. Hear this. Your tears do not frighten Jesus. You don't have to clean yourself up before coming to God. You can come with tears. You can come with questions. You can come with disappointment. You can come with fear. You can come with a broken heart. Jesus understands. Jesus also became angry. The hidden side of Jesus isn't only gentle. Jesus was compassionate, but he also confronted injustice. In the temple, Jesus saw people turning a sacred place into a marketplace and exploiting others. He confronted what was happening. This is important because sometimes we misunderstand kindness. Being loving doesn't mean pretending everything is acceptable. Jesus could be gentle with broken people while being firm against people who exploited others. There is righteous anger. There is anger that comes from seeing people mistreated. There is anger that says, "This isn't right." But Jesus didn't allow anger to become hatred. That's the difference. We live in a world where anger can consume people. Social media can turn disagreement into hatred within seconds. People become enemies because they vote differently. Family